Well, hello there. Welcome back to the EU Challenger Series. What's
That was quite well, hello there.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Just need to do the whole swivel.
The whole swivel, yeah. Wow. I was not expecting that. That's another one of those, you never know what's going to happen when we come back from break.
No, you just don't. Especially with us casting.
Yeah, I know. Well, to be honest, we never know what's going to happen.
No, we do not. But I did not expect that first game either. Like, no, Millenium, that was insane. I say insane a lot with Millenium, but like, how can you not say that?
Insane in the top lane. Insane with the vein. Please don't. It's fine. It's fine. Sorry, I don't know why I had to. It was there. It was okay. But seriously, Millenium. That was an impressive victory.
Yes.
Right there. Like I'm running way ahead of the game here because
I think you have to.
The first question that really, when you look at a team that were that dominant, is this possible to keep up week on week on week? Like, that game, there were mistakes from Mouse, but you look at Hansammer's performance. There were so many individual plays from Hansammer that ends up with him going 7-1-3 overall in that game. Like, that sounds like a low kind of like overall scoreline for like a single player, but 7-1-3 on a vein in a short game is crazy.
Yeah, it is. And you do have to like think about future weeks because they played first week where Huma was not performing. Second week where Mouse have displayed to be one of the weaker teams in the league. So when you place them against other teams, how will they perform? That's a question for the future weeks. But right now, like coming in with like 2-0 weeks is massive to start off the league. And we talk about in the LCS so often like how early wins are really important for some of the lower teams because then you can coast a little bit through like the mid and end of the split and maybe you can get out of relegation. For these teams, netting those early wins and getting into playoffs and then playing well there is really important. And with Millenium playing so well at the start and then like actually getting better from week to week, this could be a really strong contender for the promotion tournament.
I completely agree. And then my mind, again, this is where it's jumping forward.
Yes, we are getting ahead of ourselves. A lot is still to come.
Right, but then the things I see from Millenium, in last week's games, because yes, that game right there was a lot on just Vayne being fed. The coordination I've seen from Millenium is coordination that has been lacking from some of the LCS teams as well. And that's not to say I think they're on the same level. I think Millenium would be an interesting matchup for some of them. But as a team, they seem to be a step ahead of the other challenger teams when it comes to utilizing side lanes, when it comes to actually pressuring for objectives and taking the right fights. They seem to be on another level. Can they keep that up, though?
Additionally, there's no doubt that these players are also on somewhat an LCS level, specifically Joko.
Sure.
We've seen him play in the LCS, filling in big shoes, I might add, diamond procs, and then actually doing really well.
And not only doing well, but it's like, it's not unicorns from last year where you're like, okay, we'll put him in, we'll see how it goes. Unicorns are 50-50. Unicorns this year are looking really good.
One of the top teams.
And it's just like, yeah, you can just fill in, it's fine. It doesn't seem like there's a big difference between the two. Like, the funny thing to me is that we've been involved in Challenger Series inside and outside of the broadcasts for years now. Actually, dating back to like 2013 Challenger Series. Like, these are players that are fairly unfamiliar to me.
Yep, same.
Like, pretty much, maybe Hansammer's name has floated around before.
Solo queue.
In solo queue, like that kind of thing. But Millenium have brought them together, whether they were a team before Millenium or not, remains to be seen. But they've brought them together, and this is a really good team.
Yes.
Straight up really good team.
Yeah. Like, bouncing off that, it is so rare you see a lineup that just kind of springs up players, and they all fit together really well.
Of 5
people. That just doesn't happen in Challenger. Like, so very rarely. If ever. So.
Normally it's like, well, I recognize these 2 players.
Yeah, and they've played together before, and this guy used to play. Yeah.
Normally that's how it goes.
No.
To see 5 players just go, okay, well we're good, is just like that's impressive.
It really is.
However, fresh game, new slate, new picks and bans. What can Mouse give us? Last game, Millenium banned out their own champion pool. They banned out Corki, Alistair, Rek'Sai.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they're going to do here. They're going to have to ban like the GP, maybe the Kalista, Lulu if they don't want it to go over to Mouse.
Sure. And
Kalista's already gone.
Yes, Kalista's gone. Alice is gone against Masterwork as well. things that used to go well for Mouse, like on an individual sense, like being too big Irelia player back in the day, Irelia's not really picked anymore. Dan got on Rek'Sai, that's taken away, that's something away from him. Dan is a player who played a lot in the jungle in terms of like jungle Reluctant, that type of stuff. In the mid lane, Sevex had a good game last week on Syndra, but I don't think he can carry enough.
Man, I love the balls on Millenium right now. They're putting him in a situation where it's like, okay, you've banned Kalista, we'll ban Lucian, I'll beat you 2v2 in whatever lane you pick. I just picked Vayne into you, like, and got the 2v2, which granted the matchup is not the worst one for Vayne. But still, like, that is pretty strong confidence there, especially to go Lucian and not to ban Corki, because this now leaves Corki either available or for Millenium to ban. And they don't ban it. They go for a jungler. You leave arguably the strongest pickup. And now that is either going to come back to bite them or is just major confidence, which is not something that Millenium lack. They are always spamming out the emotes.
Yes. Yeah, you even see him pick some bans. I mean, it has to be the Corki here. Okay, that's locked in. Like, Sevex is also a player who will pick that one up. Sevex is mechanically talented, so he will pick up a Corki, absolutely. I don't know if it will go on Taric. I would prefer it in the mid lane, really, on Sevex. And I insta-lock in the Graves as well.
Just whoop, straight away, that's what I want. So what do they pair it with? Probably don't want to grab their AD carry in this matchup right now. Ooh, the Thresh was available. Didn't even have a moment to stop on that.
Yeah, Thresh was actually up in one of the games last week for Millenium, and he did pick it. He actually went towards the Morgana instead.
But we did see
But we did in game one. Oh man, yes we did.
Oh, the Thresh Express.
That was
pretty sweet.
Very, very cool. He did a lot of nice things, especially in lane against Holy Phoenix. So I want to see what he does in this game and what his AD carry will be. There's still a lot open. Corki's taken away. Lucian's been banned out. Kalista is still up.
Elise is up. Should Dan
Kalista
want
is not up, sorry.
Out of the jungle? Yeah, Kalista was the first ban. Elise is up.
Ezreal's up.
For AD carries, yeah. But then I feel like that says like we really just want you to not win quickly like last game.
That's true.
Which I don't particularly like if MOUs go that way.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like what AD carries open right now, like in terms of Caitlyn as well.
The best bet may actually be to take the Corki into AD carry.
Yeah, and then put like a poke mid or something with like a Lux or what?
Maybe something like control mage mid. Yeah. Like that's not to say I think it's what they have to do, but I feel like if you want a solid 2v2 for MOUs, there aren't many lanes now that will go away from a Corki. So Millenium would be in a situation where they have to actually outplay in the 2v2, which I guess they're not afraid to do.
Yeah. But they did leave that Corki up. So Lee Sin picked up for Dan. Yeah, and then Poppy will probably go into top lane as well. We've seen it support, but with Lee Sin locked in, it will definitely not be jungle. Dan, I was probably more impressed with his Lee Sin when I saw it last time we saw Dan. I prefer him on something that can really make plays, but I don't know what he can do in this game. Like, he needs people to set him up, I think.
I think so. Although, I feel like maybe this is just Dan saying, I need to provide some kind of carry potential here. Maybe it's Dan actually like taking a little bit of responsibility and being like, look guys, last game I couldn't do anything on Elise. I couldn't be in the right position at the right time. I didn't have the mobility to do it. That's a Draven. Hans Sama is like... I'm getting like positively tilted by Hans Sama's confidence.
Yeah.
Draven is not a champion we see unless your name is Freeze.
Are you Freeze?
Like,
are you BRTT?
Yeah,
if
exactly.
none of the above,
like,
don't pick Draven.
So, I wouldn't say don't pick Draven.
Hey, if you can play like them, pick it, man.
But Draven relies on constantly getting kills.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just like get one kill and you're like, I'm ahead, I'm good.
Yeah.
This is like, you have to get a kill every few minutes in order to get the gold and have it continue rolling to be able to get the extra itemization to keep up.
Correct.
And that's now an Ezreal locked in AD carry against him. So you have an AD carry that has good early game presence in Draven going up against an Ezreal who needs time to scale. Theoretically, Ezreal should be okay from just being able to stand further back and being able to E away, so this lane shouldn't go as badly as it did last time for MOUs. But if Hans Sama gets the ball rolling, that's problematic.
It's such a risk, though. Like, if you die when you have a lot of stacks in the early game, like you have 150 stacks and you die, you lose so much, and it puts you incredibly far behind with your passive with the Adoration. I would like the Time Kench here. That would be some insurance for the Draven if he goes too ham, and you can just pick him up and run away.
That's true.
That is nice, but when you have something like a Lee Sin, you have high burst from Mouse, like, you can pop the Draven very easily. Remember, he only has the extra movement speed, he doesn't have a solid escape. He does, however, have stand aside, so he could knock Corki out of his Valkyrie, which would be cool to see.
So, it does get locked in for the Tam Kench. Orianna was locked in, didn't really talk about that too much. It's a lane that's fairly neutral, will get bullied around by Corki, but Orianna is the queen of pretty much going even.
Going even here.
Wave clear, shields, you know the drill with Orianna.
It's Orianna.
It's Orianna. Sort of the first series of the day, actually, in this matchup. But this Draven, man, there is a lot of it's like, a statement pick. As I said, like the bans and the picks in this is Millenium saying we have enough in our playbook to beat you with whatever you pick. Tarek should be able to be a lot safer in this game, by just from the fact of having his E to get away from the Draven. We'll have to see, though, because last game he made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be running away from the Draven, preferably you want to be killing him. If all you're doing is running away at that point,
but what I mean is that,
lost,
like,
you know?
Ezreal with Tyr against a Draven...
Yeah, then you want to be kiting him.
Yeah, you want to be backing away and dealing damage as you retreat, rather than, like, go flashing in and going aggressive against a Vayne and dying.
I want to know what Draven is actually running in this game, because I tried Draven the other day, and in terms of, like, adapting to the current meta with Keystones, we haven't seen a lot of Draven since then. I got destroyed. Like, I went Thunderlords, and yes, you have the extra burst in lane, and it's very easy to proc it with, like, E, auto, and auto again. But it's hard. It's really hard against the current state of AD carries.
I don't think it was the Draven that was the problem.
No, I don't think so either. It's probably a large part of me being bad, but I don't think Hansama is bad. Anyway, join the discussion on Twitter. Hashtag Pulse is wrong. No, hashtag MOU win or hashtag MIL win. It was 50-50 last game.
I thought you were going to say hashtag Pulse is bad.
That's also another hashtag. Make sure to use that one on Twitter. Hashtag Pulse is wrong or hashtag Pulse is bad at Draven.
I'm sorry.
Or hashtag Pulse win.
Hashtag Draven.
Hashtag Draven win. Make sure there's 7 A's in there.
He's not playing either of the 2 best Draven skins, which is Primetime Draven.
Yep.
Because, you know, there are shoutouts to, like, Shocks and that lot in there, in the voice lines, which is cool. Or Gladiator Draven, because of the cheer. The cheer when you recall. Which, actually knowing, like, the Millenium lineup and how kind of they're very aggressive with their emote spamming, I'm surprised that Hansama doesn't want a crowd of people chanting for him when he recalls after a kill.
Missed opportunity, I feel. Absolutely, from Hansama. May have to speak to him after the game.
There's going to be some kind of, like, nugget from people where it's like, you know, Soul Reaver Draven has this.
Yes.
And I'm like, I didn't know that.
Okay. I accept this. Masterwork also on Thresh. If he doesn't make at least 3 amazing plays... What?
Sorry, they have bot lane synergy.
Oh. With Damnation, the passive. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
Sorry, I interrupted you. I interrupted you to a point for, like, nothing. I'm sorry, you can continue.
I have no idea what I was talking about. Oh yeah, Masterwork. If he doesn't make at least 3 plays, this isn't even a good point. But if he doesn't even make 3 good plays in this game, then, like, it's a disappointment. That's the problem with going in and making so many amazing plays when you first start off.
Yeah, game 1 just sets the expectations.
Yeah, it really does.
Well, I'm sure we'll see some. Like, so Hansama made a couple of plays.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
Dan,
this is
out of vision.
Hang on. Okay, so we were messing around with our bot lane synergy, and Dan has picked a very tricky timing. So this is just assuming. I'm actually going to go back, and I don't feel like it's fair for this level 1 if we don't talk about it.
Yeah, so actually see where Dan stayed, because when he jumps over the wall, he actually stepped his back to the wall, the furthest point from where bot lane could be taking the Grump. So that meant that even if bot lane wouldn't be able to spot him because they're never going to be in range of seeing blue buff in the first place, and they won't spot Dan out. That was really smart. Joko jumps over the wall. Where's my blue? And now he has to instantly reconsider his route. Now that Dan's gone immediately to his red, Joker's on the opposite side of the map, so he can't go to the enemy blue, which means that he's going to get triple buffed.
What I will say to that is, Dan did this with no vision. Like, he had no read on the fact that this was a 2v2 bot lane. Like, I've just watched it through with only blue side vision. Unless something happened way earlier and Dan just had that feeling that this was standard lanes, like, that is an incredibly risky play.
I think Dan's going all in, man. Like, he just went back and bought boots. So, he is... Oh, man, and Joko is actually going for the blue buff here. He's fairly low on mana,
look,
has the red buff.
Kaze's coming. Kaze's coming down as well. Like...
Smites the Rift Spirit, so he actually sees this one out. Now the team can collapse. Beansu's coming in, and so is
Sebex.
Now they close in for the 3v2. Kaze gets the CC off. Joko will actually juke away back into Tam Kench, but Kaze does not turn around to devour him. He actually just carries on waddling away. I'm not sure if he had Devour, though. I need to check that one.
Devour was on cooldown.
Okay.
Kaze used it, I believe, on the blue buff, looking at a hook in the bottom lane.
Yeah, just a bit of damage there. Wow.
This is a very intricate start to this game.
It was intricate, but it was all based on Dan just being like, you know what, if they see me, I'm screwed, but if I get this off, then I can snowball the early game. And
man, well, we said it in Champ Select. This Lee Sin is Dan saying, I need to do work this
I didn't
game.
think he'd go this far.
And it's starting to pay off, actually, to begin this game. Like, Dan is doing a fair job of controlling the rest of the map.
He could potentially snowball this game, but now you need to keep up the momentum. Once you make the initial play, you have to keep feeding the fire. You can't just let it sit.
And the biggest problem here that Dan now has to turn his attention to is look towards this bottom lane. Because that's what they have to upset. If you can kill Draven before he can cash in his first stacks, if you hit him when he has like 50 CS right around that BF sword back timing and kill him, that is Draven pretty much out of the game.
Yep.
That's like it. Draven cannot really regroup from that without a lot of time farming and somehow you stalling the game out and him continuing to just get items from it. So if Dan can put his focus down to this bottom lane at the right time, there is, you know, the ability to disrupt this 2v2.
Ultimately, it's snowball pick versus snowball pick.
Yeah.
Like, the way Dan is playing Lee Sin is not a sustainable one, but when you play Draven, no, you can't play Draven in a sustainable way. So if he does manage to shut down Hand Salmon, it could be really big. That being said, they are playing fairly far back in the lane with how the minion wave is.
Man, I was not expecting to see a Draven today, and I was not expecting really to see Dan making such an aggressive play level 1 into the enemy jungle, but it has turned around in Dan's favor pretty spectacularly. Now he's looking to ward up the top side with the Tracker's Knife that he has purchased as well.
Yeah,
so this is the start Mouse needed.
On both sides. Dan should probably stay with the warding totem. As Lee Sin, you generally go for both, so you have all of the ward hops.
Yeah. There is a problem for Dan in that the advantage he had hasn't actually translated into a lead. He's down on gold because Joko's been farming a little bit more, and Joko is ahead on experience. So the actual lead that he got, that blue buff, and denying Joko the blue buff to begin with, wasn't significant. It's not like this is one Mouse the game or anything like that, because Millenium have done a good job on the bottom side of the map to get themselves ahead. And that now makes it difficult, because Dan has to somehow do more.
I don't know how he's going to make that happen, though. So, in the bottom lane, still farming away, slight advantage to Hans Sama, which will be exacerbated in a second, as these minions will go down to him. And still hasn't cashed in the Adoration yet, though. I believe he's on 140 right now.
I will take a look for you. Yeah, 140 something. 150 something now it is. So that's a pretty decent amount of stacks. Sebex has found Joko, though.
And they're going to go for this one-on-one, but Sebex is now out of mana. Joko's dropping low, but Pretty pops his heal to save his ally. There's the shield as well. Will flash over the wall. And now we'll get away, but that was very, very close. Top lane, though, Beansu up against Kaze. Just going to back off.
Yeah, just going to back away. Kaze has that grey health available, though, for himself. Right now, looking at mid lane, Sebex has taken that Phage rather than the Sheen that we've seen a lot. Masterworks is going to try and disrupt this. Won't get too much done. Second blue buff of the game goes over to Dan. And they are able to continue that pressure. Binsu very low.
He'll pop his ultimate to try and keep himself alive, and will juke behind the caster minion line so it doesn't get licked up. And then we'll back off. So, safe for now.
Joker once again is like, oh, my blue buff's not here. Damn. Dan, however, is taking his own red now. I wonder whether we'll see the same sequence around the blue buff from Dan, where Joker comes in to try and invade, or whether Joker will look elsewhere. Binsu just used teleport to get back to top lane. Kaze has his available.
Indeed. Oh, Q almost landing on pretty there. Dan is trying to make a play with his ultimate, and almost has his flash back up, so it'll make it a little bit easier if he can kick flash, because you basically can't stop that from happening. Hand Sama, this is the dangerous moment in the game as Draven where like it's like stepping out of your house with all this like money in your pocket. And it's
Again,
like,
it's like somebody that keeps all the cash in their mattress.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm saving it. Saving it for a rainy day.
I got robbed.
Yeah.
That's Hand Sama right now. But it feels so bad, because if he gets killed here, you lose so much gold. But if he gets the kill, he can snowball almost out of control.
I'm just waiting with bated breath. Also, we're going to find out whether Hans Sama went to Clown College. See how good his juggling is.
Yes, indeed. I want to see what build he goes for as well, because it was a build a while ago where you basically just went for no attack speed and just all AD, like Infinity Edge, Bloodthirster.
Ooh.
Package incoming. Nope.
Wonder what Pretty ordered. Oh, the package is still there. He could get the knockback. Oh, doesn't.
He ordered 20 ounces of pain. Oh,
it's quite a lot of pain.
he's out of there. I don't know. It's difficult to quantify. Masterwork. He's casually 1v1ing rooks.
Sebbex has used the package in mid lane. Like, it's gonna run out. I've got to use it.
Masterwork, he is a dedicated support. He kept the minion wave away from the tower so that Hans Sama could eat it all up, even when he was being smacked in the face by rooks.
It doesn't matter at that
No,
point.
it
He's
doesn't.
like, yeah, it's okay. Whoa!
Have we ever seen a fan vote that
I think
heavily
we had
swing?
a 96-4
last
year with an Origin
97%.
game. We had like a 96-4. I think it was like Origin versus
someone.
I don't think it was Mouse, but
Oh, we've been very unlucky if it
may
was
have been.
Mouse.
I actually want to go back and track that now. That's unfortunate. Nevertheless,
97%. Well, that 3%, you're currently ahead very slightly in this game.
it's a lot of Draven fans.
It is, yeah. I mean, I would vote for the Draven. He's going towards probably Essence Reaver here. That's pretty nice on Draven nowadays, because then you can go crit from there. I'm seeing Rapid Fire Cannon as well as a pickup, because it gives you extra range on your first auto, and then from there you can speed up, you can follow up, but also the poke. One big Draven crit is really big as poke.
So
in mid-game.
being a Draven main, or at least like one trick.
Yeah, one trick.
Wouldn't Rapid Fire Cannon kind of mess with your juggling? Because does it return like to the same distance from you, or is it from the creep? I can never remember.
It always drops somewhere around you.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember
yeah.
that interaction.
Also depends on your movement. But,
bottom lane
we'll
now.
discuss Draven mechanics later as Dan is trying to shut down the stacks, but he's going on to Masterwork.
Oh.
Masterwork will probably die here, but it's all worth because Draven survived.
Hans
But
Sama.
another kill over to Mouse.
Oh, we saw a mistake come from Hans Sama there. You stand aside, and it was just too far forward. Didn't clip anyone. May have been enough to have saved Masterwork, but a mistake nonetheless.
Yep.
Seeing one from Hans Sama, and thank you for clarifying that interaction.
Yeah, so if you're standing still, it either has a chance to jump on top of you or around you, and then if you're moving, it should try and predict where you're going. So if you hit, and then instantly, as the projectile's in the air, turn around and then run away, it should drop in front of you. So with that initial poke, you can throw it, turn around, catch it, and you're good.
I was confusing... Ooh. I was confusing it with Poppy Buckler, which lands near your opponent.
Yeah.
But does bounce in a random way. You actually can't control that. So either goes slightly towards you more or slightly away from you more. So yeah, that was what I was confusing with. I was going to say that would be really bad if like Rapid Fire Cannon, it like bounced halfway away from you. The extra difference.
Yeah, that would suck a lot.
I want to see the rebound. I want to, because that's like a long rebound. It's big. It's at that point. Just like the special delivery.
But to go back onto the very first point I was going to
Okay.
make, was that you're talking about juggling axes, and when you build attack speed on Draven, it actually does come into effect in team fights. You need to activate Q again, so that more of your auto attacks while they're in the air, you can have 2 held and then a couple in the air. So you can theoretically see a Draven juggle 4, even 5 axes if he has max attack speed. Doesn't happen in reality, usually 3 or 4, but it's something that good Draven players are actually able to make happen.
So now you've kind of piqued my interest on. So I sent you a video of a Cogmore player from Korea.
Yes,
that I think
ridiculous, by
Perks
the
was
way.
tweeting about it the other day. I think so. There were a bunch of LCS players that were tweeting, and it's just this Cogmore with like 3.5 attack speed, like stutter stepping perfectly, and like 1v4ing a team. I would love to see that with like a Draven with 2.5 attack speed and axes, and see how that works.
Yes.
I mean, probably not the best of builds. I'm just gonna say that, but
even 3 or 4 is impressive to watch. Well, Dan is trying to take away this blue buff, but the
Shockwave got
ultimate
it.
in from Pretty gets it, and now Rooks is
cashing
in the
in.
enemy jungle. He didn't get it. That
Didn't
went
get
over to
it.
Joko. Masterwork dropping low, but there's the heal to keep him safe. Give me all the kills, guys. Hans Sama is sitting on so many stacks right now. It's concerning.
340 stacks currently.
That's
Kaze nearly died.
780 gold if he cashes that in.
Kaze nearly died.
780.
Top lane. Binsu has finally turned this around. He is has been ahead from that first kill going over to him. But Millenium, this is a much slower paced game than the last one.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, Mouse started this with a nice jungle invade. And now Millenium have taken control. Oh, he called it back manually.
Yes. That is something you want to do. Something you often see Draven players do is just shoot at the ultimate, it'll fly past them, and then it gives you time to juke.
Yeah.
A good Draven player will do it just as it connects to you, so you get both of the procs of damage.
Yeah, pretty much instantly, right?
Correct.
So it's like it's so difficult to step aside from the.
And the
last
other
one.
thing is, go to replay, but I'll
It's
be
fine.
back.
You'll be back talking about Draven. So this was the catch on the blue buff and the single pick off here. So very slow-paced blue buff take. It hovers at like 60 health forever, but that was masterwork. I believe flaying Rux back into that. And Hans Sama really wanted that kill.
It would have been really huge. That would have been an injection
Whoa,
of
Binsu.
over 1,000 gold. Binsu is going to get eaten up here, and I'm not sure if he can get away. He doesn't have flash. He's going to knock Kaze towards his tower.
Sunfire Cape and auto attack to death.
He's going to
this
flash
point.
after and gets him and takes him out. In a 1v1, Tam Kench up against Poppy.
This is Tam Kench after the nerfs. Keep in mind, like he had that damage reduced.
Yep.
He's still level 1, now hits level 2, so that was now only the 2% bonus that was previously 4.
Yeah, it's
so,
fairly big. In that situation, Sunfire was probably doing most of the work.
Yeah.
But still, Tam Kench very rarely 1v1s an opponent, wins and kills them. Usually you just back away. It's like, oh, you're trading with me. Okay, I guess I'll just walk away. Hans Sama moving into the top lane now. There's a big mini wave stack in the bottom lane. He may have to ult that when it comes up. Actually, not going to get it in time. They're giving all of the gold to Hans Sama. Look at this.
Yeah, Hans Sama on his own right now has 1,200 gold over Taric before cashing it in.
Yep.
Like, that is not including the stacks that he is currently
all
holding.
this gold into him.
So, Hans Sama is like, this is like a hedge fund right now.
This makes me
like
worried.
investing.
Like seeing him walk around actually makes me anxious.
I just feel like there's like a stock graph and it's like going up, 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 and there's about to be a market crash for Millenium. Like the recession is gonna hit.
I want to see them give this over to Hans Sama as well.
Oh, look at all this juggling.
Yeah, these are all stacks as well. Every time he catches an axe, that's more stacks.
Whew. That was a change that I looked at and I'm like, does Draven really need this?
Yeah.
Like,
And then, like, if you perfectly CS a wave 6 in a row, you get more stacks. So everything gives you stacks nowadays. Hans Sama, he's picked up the Bloodthirster
Here comes
first.
Binsu.
Looking for the flank. Hans Sama. Any other day, if he was not on Draven, he would have gone for that auto attack.
I think so. Like, let's compare this game to some of the other games we've seen with some of these champions. Specifically, the Corki. I'll get that.
Okay.
So now we're finally seeing Mao's group in this middle lane. Not the most amount of wave clear coming from Millenium without Pretty stepping up and doing some wave clear, but it's too dangerous with this Braum to really send the ball out too far. So it means Mao's grouping on the Corki and getting the turret. This was about the time that they wanted to do it. You got that defined Corki power spike, Trinity Force, Sorcerer's Boots, group on it, and it works very well for Mouse. So again, they're able to play this style because it is fairly clean cut. So Mouse are looking a lot better this game than they did in the last.
Beansu, he's going to find himself a pink ward. Is it time for another Draven fact? I think it is. So
how many have you got?
A never-ending supply, really.
Hit me with it.
Okay, so I was talking about his ultimate before.
Yeah.
It's very important to hit it when you just hit your target, and then you can recall it. Not only because because you hit, they could juke it, but it resets the damage when it comes back. So it deals damage as if you've just sent it out, which is a big deal. Because if it hits minions behind it or targets behind your desired target, it will reduce the damage.
Just in time for bot lane
Oh
fight.
yeah! And now Joko in this 1v1. Tarek doesn't have his flash from earlier. Already uses Arcane Shift, and now Dan's in the fight. He's going to kick Kaze and Graze back into the meat grinder, and maybe Joko can get something done. He was going to just jump out of there. Actually still had his flash, so he was safe, or at the cost of Tam Kench.
So this is a lot more spread out game from Millenium right now. They're relying on getting gold onto Hans Sama. I'm going to double check his stats again. Did Hans Sama die? No, okay,
No.
The fight's going live.
Rocks, ultimate comes out by Pretty, takes down Tarek, Joko over the wall. He's got more damage to deal. Masterwork closing in the noose, and will knock back Dan. Doesn't get the hook as he retreats, also ignites him. Maybe enough. Sebex turns and trades with Joko, and stays in the end of the line damage, and takes him out. Dan was very low, but he manages to survive.
Sorry, I was confusing the fact that it was like 700 gold before.
Correct.
Now 480 stacks. I thought
concerning.
somehow it had reset, so that's a lot of gold. But off that fight, that was a good set of kills going over to Millenium. Even though they didn't cash any in on Draven, like, there is this big amount of gold that is just stacking up.
Biggest cash in of all time.
This is where like he gets no kills the entire game.
Yeah.
Or gets it as the Nexus dies.
Yeah.
Like,
He just has to recall instantly and spend all that money. Pretty gets hit by the Q. I'm not really sure Dan wants to go in. Masterwork threw out the hook preemptively, as it would have hooked him literally out of the air. So it was nice as a zoning tool.
So from what looked like a bit of a rough game, or at least a spread out game from Millenium, where it was resulting in picks in the bottom. This it's just the kiting through the jungle. What looked like a rough game, spread out game for Millenium, has started to open up for them now. So this was the beginning of this fight once again. Masterwork was looking to go in. Joko gets a good amount of damage down, but this shockwave just takes Tarek out. And then it's just easy follow-up for the rest of Millenium. They just get the 3 kills. And there's nothing really Mouse could do about this.
Look at this damage.
And Masterwork gets away.
Yeah. And Lee Sin, Dan had to use his pink ward. Because that was the last ward that he had to jump away.
And that was like 3 versus 4. Yes, the 4 were damaged.
Yeah.
But Kaze was using his TP to go back top lane during that fight. He's like, you don't need me.
Interesting. Hans Sama is going for the very old build where you go for Bloodthirster into Infinity Edge.
Yep.
Yep. So that's an interesting one. It means his initial Q will do a ridiculous amount of damage, his auto attack, but he'll be moving less. It just empowers his auto attacks that he gets off, so he can jump in, jump out, and keep up his damage rather than being a sustained damage dealer.
TP coming in from behind from Poppy.
This is risky.
Gonna catch Hans Sama.
And he's gonna eat up the Draven. Dan comes in, keeping those stacks alive.
It's because Orianna's down bot side right now. They don't have that AoE combo coming from that shockwave.
Oh, collateral damage takes it from Joko. All the
No,
way
Dan
down there.
actually got it.
Really?
Yeah, Joko's not wearing a red buff. Sorry, blue buff. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was colorblind for a sec there.
Hashtag pulse win?
Yeah, hashtag pulse win. He did get it with
Yes.
collateral damage. I was going to say, it looked like Dan didn't get it, and then I was like, Dan's wearing a red buff. Anyway, it's been a long day, Pulse.
It has.
I'm hallucinating. I'm seeing a Draven right now.
Had
with
some fairly fast games today.
580 stacks.
Oh, Joko. Can he get the kiting off? He needs to dodge the Q. Does not get the Q. Oh, Kaze swipes him out of the air and saves his ally. That was
Good catch.
really good to see. Here comes the banana.
Ooh. Swinging a
Felt that one. Whistle past his ear. But Joko lives and
When
survives
Hans Sama
another day.
cashes this in, it's going to be ridiculous. He's about to crest 600 stacks.
This is going to be a ridiculous payoff.
I would be very interesting. I would be very interested to know. We had a Draven game from Freeze last year, That was a lot of damage on Stark.
I believe it was because he got a double kill, right, and then like 1,800 gold.
Right, but I can't remember how many stacks he cashed in. Like, I can't remember what the actual gold was. I know it was some obscene amount.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like this much.
I don't think it was 600. I think it was close, but I don't think it was quite here. Either way, Hans Sammer is still stacking up, so he's getting further and further away from that number.
I would be interested to know what is the highest competitive Draven cash-in from any region. If you know, hashtag EUCS, tweet at me Impulse.
I want to know.
I actually really want to know. Or even if you have like a good, like not a guess, but you know one and you don't know whether it's the highest.
Yeah, that's still fine. Oh, that damage on Rux.
Summer's like, stop chunking them before I get here. Like, let me auto them once and kill them. Like,
Rux is in prime position to be cashed in by Draven though. He is around 50% HP and doesn't have a flash.
Millenium think twice about this.
And Sammers took a lot of poke from that. He lost his shield and took a bit of damage. He needs to hit something to get his health back.
And to get more stacks.
Kaze's away from him as well, so that's a little concerning.
This could be the risky play here. Millennium, they're starting to flounder a bit. This is not the Millennium's decision-making that we've seen before. Joko goes in. Sebex nearly jukes back into it.
Joko's still living. Dan looking for a Q onto a priority target.
Oh, I think he could have got Hans Sammer there.
Maybe.
He didn't have vision properly of him, like his movement and where the pathing was going to go.
Kaze is still split pushing away though in the bottom lane, and we've seen that he can duel Binsu in a one-on-one. Joko now invading the... What is Joko doing?
He's just taking anything he can. Like,
well, Baron was just being contested, and he's the jungler, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to take their crooks.
Right, but you look at the vision control, they can see that nobody from Mouse is moving up towards the Baron.
Sure.
Even though Millennium's just recalled. Mouse are
Voyage.
way too scared right now to do anything drastic like start a Baron.
Pretty's coming down. Had some recalls come out. Also, Abyssal Voyage will get them very close to the Baron pit.
Yep.
Because Kaze was in the bottom lane. Dragon now being taken out. This will be the first of the game for Millennium. Very nice in the mid game, as it gives 6% extra AD and magic damage, which is the biggest one, really, in terms of combat stats, until you get to like movement speed, which is a little bit, and then, of course, the 5 Dragons aspect is the big one.
Ezreal's bottom lane. This could be an Abyssal Voyage now onto Corki from behind, or even onto Dan and Rux to hold him in position.
Uh-oh. Binsu wants
heard
to get
it.
out.
Where did it go? Oh, it went to top lane.
Okay. Well, there's no one else around there, and Kaze didn't take anyone with him, so...
Yeah, it was just one of those situations where I'm like looking at, you know, a mid lane that's pushed up.
Okay.
Could have been a play. Keeping my eyes on the Draven counter. People are probably going to be sick, but we always get tweeted, like, can you tell us how many stacks Nasus or Draven
So now we're
has?
telling you.
670 stacks right now.
That's a lot. Just had a tweet in. Rank Esports just said that Cop cashed in 1,446 gold recently.
That's a lot.
It is.
That's quite a lot of gold. Now, was that including the kill? Like
That's a good point, actually.
The kill gold?
I would assume it would be, yeah, because it's all included in one cash lump sum.
Consolidating all of your kill gold into one monthly payment, like.
Yep. Oh.
I guess that's kind of the equivalent of, you know, getting a year's supply.
It is, really.
Hans Sammer's like, come on.
Nope. Oh. Come on, Masterwork. Set me up.
Very rarely am I like praying that one team does something. Like, it's not even about Millennium doing anything. It's just about seeing this cash in. Like, it's all I want to see.
Because we have this downtime where everyone's just kind of like posturing back and forth and is
so tense.
Yeah, like that's the real thing in this game. Joko and Kaze pushing down this middle lane. Actually get it to half before the minion wave dissipates and before Mouse react. Even lower, down to a third. So that will go over in the next minion wave push. Baron is still up as well.
Oh,
Joko found out in the jungle. Dan tries it in second, but Joko's too far ahead of the game. The cape flash into the team. He'll jump away with the flash. Kaze, eat me, bro. No.
Walls are pretty good at stopping that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, topside, Hans Sammer taking more objectives, getting extra gold. This time, not so many stacks, but it's all about just cashing in. Oh, this is... They don't want to go against Binsu.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Hans Sammer.
Oh, he's good. Binsu tried to get the
But
ultimate
look,
off
coming
there.
up the river, though.
Oh no.
Oh no.
This could be the end.
This could be the end.
Sacrifice yourself, Masterwork.
Hello,
The
darkness.
ultimate
Oh,
down.
he
He
flashed
flashes the Q. Maybe he can get a kill here.
Kaze's
Kaze's coming in. Oh, he gets the auto attacks in, but he's low on mana, so he can't really do anything else. And he's playing so
survived?
defensively. And they
What?
get out.
Oh my
The
goodness,
sacks, the living.
Millennium survived. Whoa. Oh, I had the visions of like somebody carrying a piggy bank, and it's like,
Yeah.
you know, in Jackie Chan movies where he's like
He's
keeping the
yep.
vase up,
Tosses
on
it up
one
in the
side.
air.
Yeah, exactly.
Does some martial arts. Yeah.
Exactly like that. Like
And he caught it.
just holding like
Yeah.
4 big like ancient Chinese
All filled with
urns,
money.
all filled with Draven's gold. That's
Yeah.
how he likes to hold his money, Pass. Like banks and building societies, not for
Yeah.
Draven.
Nope. Gotta carry that with me, man. Okay, so Baron being started off here with Millennium. Beansu now coming in. He pops the W very quickly, jumps
got
in.
it!
Oh, the
It's
steal
stolen!
in from Tariq, and maybe the turnaround. Masterwork dropping low. The
cash
shut
in!
down. Oh, that was like 1,448, I think, plus 300.
I'm gonna double check.
Okay,
This
okay.
game still hasn't.
We still might have a team fight, but that's more important. Let's go. Joko following up. Here's the end of the line. Collateral damage backwards. Handtown still kiting in the backside. And Tariq zoning them away. And this should be the disengage now by Millennium.
1488 plus 300 for the kill goal.
Yeah, 17-8-8.
Whew. Wow. Okay, but the cash in was nice.
Yeah.
But the Baron steal by Tariq. Tariq's had a rough series, but that right there may have turned this game around. Like the Baron steal at this point makes it pretty difficult now for Millennium to actually wave clear this. Draven doesn't have wave clear. Orianna does, but it's magic damage based. So now they're under the siege of Mouse, and they have to stack pretty much everybody in this middle lane to hold on to this push. And this is what the Corki, the Ezreal want to do, is they want to be able to siege and poke. That Baron steal is perfect for Mouse.
Well, Miles actually have to take the tower first, and with Rux being pulled in, they have a decent amount of damage there. He has to jump back to his team. Tariq also interrupted the recall of Handsammer, so even though he got that gold, he can't even use it yet because he's being interrupted. Miles, their push got stymied even by the skeleton crew of Millennium in the mid lane, and they were still able to repel it. Miles need to make something of this Baron because the gold is nice, but if you can take more towers off of that to start evening up the game, that is really where you can start pulling back. But in that mid lane siege, when it's 5v5, nothing really happens. So Rux now heading back into his jungle. Joko setting up for a potential dragon as well, taking away this scuttler. And what did Hansam pick up? Okay, the rapid fire cannon. We're gonna see the steal from Tariq.
So how does this steal come about? Where is the
so close.
smite?
Oh,
Oh, it's as the.
that wasn't that close. That was like 199.
Yeah, that was like the smite was rough
Yeah.
for Joko. That's again just Millennium making another mistake. I feel like Millennium have been very confident, perhaps overconfident now in this game.
I mean, that was confidence.
Right,
there.
but what I mean by that is like Millennium picks and bans is very confident, very almost not egotistical, not like arrogant as such, but
I think
but
arrogance is the right
you
word.
can feel the vibe just
Yeah.
coming from Millennium, and it is coming back to bite the Mouse with that steal. Have a platform to build from. They're not really utilizing it though. They've gone for the dragon as opposed to looking for an outer tower in the bottom lane. Like that bottom lane outer tower or the top inner tower is basically free for them right now.
Yep.
With this Baroned up set of minions, Beansu will push it through fairly slowly on his own, but if 4 people step up to that after the dragon, they just take it. Millennium aren't going to fight you for an outer tower 30 minutes into the game.
Here's Masterwork maybe caught out here before the team gets there. There's a knocker from
maybe they
Beansu, and
are.
he should be able to finish off. Pretty now coming in for this fight, but he's called off to the side, and Dan wants to get the kick, but it's reacted to by Pretty. Dan did not have the flash, so it meant that Pretty was able to use his own flash in response. And Hansama is critting for a lot right now. He chunked Sebek really hard in middle lane with 1 auto. Now Kaze looking to try and CC someone up. He grabs Tariq and knocks him into the team. He goes down and gets the lick onto Sebek as well. Oh, sombrero.
Hansam, oh, here's the Abyssal Voyage.
And they can't kill Kaze. And now he drags Dan as well. He's going to get him. Sets up the end of the line. and as soon as he comes out, the timing was perfect.
This entire fight, Hans Sama did not auto-attack an enemy champion. He was lagging behind the entire time, and Kaze was dealing so much damage. He's got an Iceborne Gauntlet alongside that Sunfire Cape, so anybody who he even touches is getting locked at least inside that slow, and the rest of the damage comes from Joko, from Kaze, from Pretty. They didn't even have Hans Sama attacking. Like, watch this again, and look at how many autos on champions Hans Sama actually gets. So, this is the start of it, and Masterwork falls. So, at this point, MOUs are thinking, okay, we've got the 5 versus 4. This should be our time to shine. Binsu went in aggressively on his own. Hans Sama has now joined, and he's farming for, like, the entirety of this. Still not attacking. Joko and Kaze are just looking to go forward again. The tongue lands onto Tarek somehow. Hans Sama still isn't attacking, like this entire time that they're taking out the rest of MOUs. And Millenium are just keeping up with the chase. Kaze uses the Abyssal Voyage in a great way, cuts off the escape tools, gets another kill. That's a pretty easy team fight for Millenium, and it's all because of how far ahead they were before the Baron buff. Yes, the Baron buff went over to MOUs, but once it's expired, if you didn't get enough in that time to close this gold gap, you're still so far behind.
Is really expired. I counted 1 auto attack against champions there, and it was just at the turret when it was thrown in front of him by Kaze. Everything else came from the rest of his team. And that's scary when that Draven has 300 farm, cashed in that ridiculous bounty, is selling 3 items and a bit. As soon as he starts hitting people, he's critting minions for 1,000. So as soon as he hits Sevex or Tarek, they're gonna melt.
So we talked about how like a Draven normally needs kills to keep on going, keep snowballing. The fact of the matter is, Hans Sama hasn't had to do anything this game. Like, legitimately, this game has not been won on Hans Sama in any real sense of the term. He's just been farming. He's been controlling waves, which is obviously to do with what he's been doing. He's been, you know, making sure the push is on the right side, and the timing has been good for Millenium, but they haven't relied on him to carry in fights. And that's a really intriguing thing when you pick a champion like Draven, and it's just been a fairly non-factor.
The funny thing about this is he's now their late game security, which is something that you don't say about Draven.
No, that's a weird one to hear being said, but it's fairly true.
4 items currently. I like the triple cloth armor in from Masterwork. Trying to think of a build path that makes sense into.
I guess he's going Randurance.
Yeah. Alright, heading down into the bottom lane. Big minion stack, so they'll be setting this one up. And mid lane's being sieged by Kaze. Binsu is currently pushing the top lane, but he's Poppy, so he doesn't really do that very quickly. And anyone can really go up there.
Has his teleport, but he's got to be careful. Like, the team may just die before he gets there. If Kaze can, like, somehow devour one of the squishies.
Yeah.
Pretty's on the bottom side, though, so that's a little concerning for Millenium when it comes to a team fight. They are lacking that AoE damage. Pretty's roaming up. Here comes the teleport from Poppy. This could be the last fight of the game.
Well, Dan needs a good ultimate to come across and lands on the Masterwork, but Kaze keeps the AD carry alive, and at the last minute, he pops the great health, and the backline is dead. What an ultimate from Pretty coming in, and Binsu now has to just run away. He only just came into the fight. Dan is the last member standing, and this looks like it could be the end of the game here for Mouse as Millenium closing in for the win.
Triple kill for Pretty in that fight, and as you said, Kaze goes straight onto Hans Sama and goes, no, I'm keeping you alive in this fight. And it was all left to the mid laner, the player that really we haven't seen a massive amount from outside of maybe a game last week. This time, Pretty had so much damage in that fight.
Oh, yes, he did. Now the towers go down. The Nexus will be followed after. But first, they have to kill Dan. No, he sat on the spawn pad. Millenium will take home 2-0 up against Mouse this week. Another dominating performance.
Hans Sama nearly died.
Yeah,
like, he had one step,
pad.
1 foot on the fountain. 1-0-4 overall. But the story of that game was pretty much Pretty. 5-0-6 on Orianna. He bided his time, and that last team fight just kind of exploded the game for him. But that was a little bit slower from Millenium. But then Millenium have been exceptionally quick in their other games.
That was only 35 minutes, so it's not even like it was a slow game either.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it did feel like they were showboating a little bit.
A little.
We may find out in a minute. But yeah, Pretty, he was definitely the backbone of that composition, for sure. and then it just showed up in the last team fight. He was just like, "Oh, I'm here by the way. I'm just gonna one-shot your backline, and I'm Oriana." Really impressive plays by Pretty. Like in week 1 when you played the Anivia was left open, picks the Oriana, makes more sense in these compositions. It just shows that not only does he have this pocket pick, but he also has meta picks as well.
Yeah, he does. I don't know what to say. Every time I'm watching Millenium, they always give me something that's a little bit different, maybe that I wasn't expecting or that's new from them as a team, and it's nice. Hopefully they got a lot more to discover from them as well. Like, I'm really impressed.
Got to talk about that chance play by Tarek, though, where he got the Baron steal. Mouse were just so far behind at the point, they just couldn't capitalize on it. They sieged the mid lane, but simply could not siege with 5 people versus 3 at one point. Even without like massive wave clear, just with the Draven and like Oriana, they were able to stop the siege. And when you're at that point, the game is already lost. So Miles have to look at everything that happened before that point that put them behind. Because, okay, they got the Baron, but had that Baron gone over to Millenium, the game would have just ended there and then.
That is true. That is true. And yeah, as you alluded to, that Mouse were just too far behind in both games, really, to do anything. And really tough to look at what Mouse needed to do differently, especially in that game. They just fell really far behind. Like their lanes just couldn't keep up.
Well, we're gonna actually jump onto an interview now with Joko coming in here from Millenium. So, hey Joko, how's it going?
Hello, I'm fine, and you?
Very good, thank you. First off, I want to ask you about your draft in the second game. It was very ballsy out of the gate, even with your bans and picking Draven as well. Was it intentionally like an arrogant draft, or was it just what you wanted to take in this game?
Not at all. We just draft, and I don't know. There is no ID carry left, so we just pick Draven and just snowball compo, I guess.
Well, it worked very well. So I'll be stating the obvious. You're in the Millenium house by the looks of it right now. Millenium chairs behind you. So you've been playing for Unicorns of Love in the LCS. How has balancing the Unicorns and Millenium at the same time been? Because we've not had a player do it before.
Yeah, I see. Well, there is a difference between these teams because, like, right now I'm doing the call in Millenium team, but in UL I was not doing the call, and they got a lot of more experience and something like that. So yeah, there is a big difference, but I think with this team we can really improve a lot, actually.
Actually, talking about improving, what is your outlook for the following weeks? Because in the first couple weeks so far, we've seen you go up against Huma, who were underperforming. This week, you went up against a weaker team. When you go up against those stronger teams, do you have anything prepared mentally with your team, or how have you looked at the next couple of weeks?
I don't know. We just play against them, and I don't know. We
just
are
take it
really
as it comes.
confident, and I don't know.
Well, you seem like a very confident team. In-game, always throwing out the emotes. Could you maybe explain a little bit about how the team came together? Because you guys are all... You guys are all players that haven't been around the Challenger scene for the Challenger series for very long. So were you a team before Millenium, or were you put together as individuals?
We were also like top 1 team in France, but we wanted to go Challenger series because we want to be LCS, and we tried the last split, but we was like at the 7 at the ladder, so we was not qualified for Challenger series. So yeah, just this split, we just tried really hard with new player, and I don't know, it was really good. So yeah, that's the story.
Okay, well, also jumping back to your experience with LCS and now coming into Challenger, has that changed how you view Challenger? Have you learned anything new from that, or are you just going back onto tactics you already had with your team?
I really learned a lot of things when I was in Call of Love, because as I say, they got a lot of more experience. So yeah, I don't know, I learned some tips from Diamond, or just with the rotation, and even with the draft, and even with the practice, like the training. So yeah.
Cool.
That's good to hear.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more from Millenium, and it's impressive games. Congratulations, man! Congratulations on the wins. I'm really impressed to see a player balance 2 teams at the same time. Is impressive, because I was a little bit worried, I must admit.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're practicing in 2 different teams and then have games the same week, like, that's very difficult to juggle. But it's interesting to hear how he took things from the Unicorns of Love and then brought that into Challenger play.
Yeah.
Like, and also performing at the top level in LCS with one of the best teams against pretty decent teams as well in the LCS that he, played and subbed in.
Yeah.
Is good.
Well, one thing to note, just for any viewers maybe that aren't familiar with the changes that came into the 2016 season, the reason Joko can play on both Millenium and the Unicorns is due to the loan portion of the 2016 kind of rule set for LCS and Challenger Series, where you can play on both a Challenger Series team and be loaned to an LCS team, but at playoffs you have to choose. So there may come a time where that decision has to be made, but that is way down the line. I know that Unicorns are looking with open tryouts as it is, but very interesting to see how it affects the playing field. The first time, it doesn't seem to have. Let's see week on week if it continues in this way, whether that actually affects it.
Yeah, for sure. Because like Joko even mentioned, like they're just taking it one match at a time. They're not being like, well, this is what we need to do against this team. And looking at those first 2 weeks, I mean, you can kind of wing it. Like in that first week going up against Huma, you can't have the assumption that like Huma's gonna have a bad week, so we can just go into this game. So will be interesting to see how they cope as they get later into the weeks. But let's take a look at the standings though to see where everyone's standing after week 2. Millennium is currently on 6 points, whereas tied just after that's Copenhagen Wolves and Inspire. Then lagging behind will be Huma, and then all the way at the bottom, Mousesports and SK still 0 points, not 1 so far.
Unfortunate for them. It is a marathon though. Maybe they can get 9 points in the next 3 series. Who knows? Maybe. Unlikely, but
well, it's a possibility. Remember to tune in again next week. We'll be back with another 6 games of Challenger action, where we'll be starting off the game and the day with Copenhagen Wolves versus Millennium, following up with SK Gaming versus Inspire, and then ending the day with Mousesports and Huma.
Well, there we're going to find that 2v2 setup that we were hoping. The Pinoy versus
and Nukes a lot.
Salmon. Yeah, a lot of talent in those bot lanes. But if you want to rewatch any of the league plays from today, take a look at the extended match histories, head over to lolesports.com and check out the VODs app. I'm going to be checking out those Draven Runes of Masteries.
I will be too. I'll be reliving the moment when he cashed in those stacks as well, because that was beautiful. Anyway, that's it for today's league action, but tune in on Wednesday at 2 AM CET for Prime Time League.
And after Prime Time League, there's going to be our North American partners in crime, I suppose, Freak and Zyrene. They're going to be bringing you North American Challenger Series week 2 of the spring split as well.
Well then, that does it for another week of Challenger. So from myself, Stress, and the Challenger broadcast team, thank you for joining us this evening, and we'll be seeing you at the same time, same place next Tuesday. The SQ damage off here. Godbro over the wall, the package pays off. First blood into the mid lane on Corkium. Jumps back in. Oh man, this like one ultimate. He just literally died to jungle as Nidalee is taking so much damage from the Lucian though. The culling is used and jukes him away. Maybe he can get the kill. Stop the ultimate with the 1v2, the triple, the quadra kill in for Pinoy. Can he make it the Penta? He's going up against Warlight, goes for the 1-on-1. Warlight, he gets it! He shuts him down for the Penta kill. Stops out Maxtor, now everyone closes in around him and should be able to pick up this kill. The tower shot will finish him off, and the culling onto Warlight. Wenover will block it with his body. They both jump away. The ultimate used by Wicked, man, and now the collapse coming in from Cosq. Is it enough though? Troven comes out and is locked up with the ultimate, but Cosq pays for it with his life. Maxtor is now being chased out, but he turns around and gets the kill off, and he goes into Sterex. He's still alive. Wicked tries to get the damage out, but it's not enough. Some of the spell timings for Tarek. Oh, the flash, and he lands it onto Rux, knocks him against the wall, should be able to get the condemn, even goes for positioning, has been exhausted, but with the follow-up CC from Masterwork, he still also goes down. Well, Hans Sama goes right through the Howling Gale, and now he'll turn on Rux as well. The flash falls, the binding from Masterwork. Oh, the ultimate in from Pretty gets it, and now Rux is in the enemy jungle. He didn't get it. Now, here comes the banana. Ooh. In. He pops the W very quickly, jumps in. Oh, the steal in from Tarek, and maybe the turnaround. Masterwork dropping low. The shutdown. Oh, that was like 1,448, I think, plus 300.